we all have to understand that we have a heroin problem today because of the prescription opioid problem that we'd had over the past 15, 20 years.
There's no question that our best, strongest pain medicines are the opioids.
Carteret County knows the opioid epidemic.
We're on the front lines with this, and we saw this epidemic and the problems as it was coming about.
These drugs, which I repeat are our best, strongest pain medications, should be used much more than they are for patients in pain.
Sheriff Asa Buck recalls the drug issues he saw before opioids.
At that time in the late 90s, the biggest part of what we were seeing was cocaine and crack cocaine.
Then as prescription painkillers became more common, he realized how big of an issue this could be.
The numbers we were looking at then, they were shocking to us at the time because we didn't have overdose deaths from crack cocaine and other street drugs.
According to National Academies of Medicine, many with opioid addiction started with prescription painkillers. These painkillers were marketed by pharmaceutical companies as safe and non-addictive, a claim Sheriff Asa Buck can tell you is false.
A lot of people who are sitting in this jail today are here because of their addiction issues.
If you're selling drugs in this area, it is our mission to find you, to build a case against you, and to prosecute you.
Sheriff Buck also says he saw crimes increase related to people trying to fuel their addictions.
When I was a deputy sheriff, I took numerous reports on medication that was stolen.
Buck and District Attorney Scott Thomas partnered to create solutions against this epidemic.
We actually started the first prescription drug take-back program in the state of North Carolina back in 2008. We called it Pills Can Kill.
Officers say the operation helped get opium, heroin, cocaine, and illegal prescription drugs off the streets.
Around the same time, they focused on education and prevention efforts.
We would do these things years ago, and you'd have as many as 4 or 5 people there. People just didn't realize it was a problem.
Over the course of the years, they've continued their partnership.
It's to the benefit of everyone that if someone runs afoul of the law, that we try to give them the tools to turn their life back around so that they don't have to come back to court. They don't have to be rearrested.
The district attorney says they try to give a second chance to first-time offenders.
And part of that includes pretrial programs working with our sheriffs and their county jails to provide for bond modifications so that offenders who are charged can go participate in inpatient treatment if necessary over a long period of time or outpatient treatment.
And the problem doesn't impact just the addict. It also impacts extended family members.
Oftentimes we'll have parents and grandparents who will come to us and say, what can you do to help us? You know, what can you do to help us? Our child or our grandchild is addicted and they won't go get help, they won't get treatment. We've tried everything and they won't do it.
And sometimes the only way to help their loved one is to arrest them and charge them with a crime, if that's an option. I say that, and sometimes that might sound silly to some people, but sometimes that's the only way to try to get a person to a point they will then take the first step towards recovery.
While they try to help people with addiction issues, they're also prosecuting the traffickers fueling the crisis. Thomas says if a person dies from an overdose, they'll seek a form of justice.
If we have sufficient evidence, then we can charge that case as a homicide case.
That's because they've been dealing with this crisis since the beginning.
There are lots of drug dealers out there who themselves would never touch a drug, but they're selling that death and destruction to people in our communities and causing overdoses, overdose deaths, and addiction that will last a lifetime for many people.
Over time, Buck and Thomas say law enforcement has taken a multifaceted approach to dealing with the issue.
It's prevention and education. It is enforcement, and it's also treatment and recovery.